Hello, welcome to Live Reflections. Viewers, today we have a very special guest, Parul Mehendiratham. And before I introduce you to her, let me welcome her. First off, I have to say, Parul, you look absolutely radiant today. And let's begin the session. She is she's into corporate sales, marketing, and retail expansion, right, Parul? I would
Yes.
allow you to introduce yourself so that you can go deeper for our students to know what exactly you do. So let's dive into your career expertise. As you know, today's conversation will help those students, new grads, who are looking into corporate sales, retail, customer service as their career options. So now stage is on to you and you can take over.
Thank you so much, Bharti, for giving me this platform. And it's actually a delight to get connected again after our previous engagement.
Yes, thank you so much for coming and accepting this offer.
Pleasure is all mine. Pleasure is all mine. And as you said that, I have a background on corporate sales as well as retail and expansion. Absolutely correct. It's a huge and a very vast platform to, reach up to this level. But there have been staircases, there have been breakdowns, there have been breakthroughs. But all of that has made me, for sure, a better version of myself at some point of the time in my life. If this session is actually for the new generation to look into their career options, then I would definitely like to put light to one major aspect of this is high sales value.
Okay.
When we say corporate sales, when we say retail, or when we say expansion, they're just big terms. But everything started in my career as I stepped into my career 22 years back. Was into sales, and that time sales was a very, very simplified term to talk about. It was just about three major things. You have your product, you have people, and you are exchanging that, product between those people and converting the engagement. So it was a very simple terminology to understand, irrespective of the times which we are in today, where thanks to technology, thanks to new era, thanks to the new generation who has come up with so much, of energy, we also need to keep upgrading ourselves. But if I may really go back, anything, for that matter, anything, it could be just about a product or a service. You need to have your DNA in place to have authenticity, to reach your client just the way you have to do it. It's not about selling a product, it's not about selling a service, it's about having a relationship in place with them. So when I entered into direct sales, it was about knocking a door and asking for an appointment, entering into the place, showcasing the product and closing it. So for me it was very simple, very, very simple, that I need to have my first 5 clients, always a referral. I've never moved out of a referral sale. So if I would come to you, I would definitely take 5 leads from you. If I would go to another person, I would take 5 leads from you. And my month used to be always rocking that. So when I started my career, there was a hook into my organization that said 5% will be given to people who achieve their targets and 7% will be given to somebody who tops. That really registered. So, 7% to somebody who tops the chart. So it was not about money that time. It was about, that shift of that mind space that, I need to give 7%. So first month I achieved, second month I achieved, third month I achieved. And I became a training manager. So, that energy and that shift in the first 3 months of my career and getting into an organization like HCL, selling typewriters and fax machines, was a super high for me, like a super high for me. So that's the gear shift which happened in my career to start with.
But I want to know, what was your education background and how you chose sales? Normally, men choose it very easily, right? As a woman, that too 22 years ago, how did that happen? And what was your product? And how you brought your mind around it to sell it in? So sales is not easy.
Yeah, that's true. So if I go back to my education, I'm a master's in business administration. I also did my diploma in marketing and sales management.
Oh,
I studied from
you had a vision already that you will get into marketing and sales.
No,
Chosen while
no, it wasn't a plan academics where I said no, I wanted to get into sales and marketing. No, but I was a commerce student, and I realized only after doing my graduation that I was doing fairly well in this stream. And years back, the options were not too many. You could either be a doctor, an engineer, a CA, or an MBA, which was just these 4 parameters to talk about. I realized that okay, I wanted to go away from maths in my academics, and then I got into commerce. I fairly did well, I started getting positions in my school, in my academics, and I realized that you need to have that niche in your career somewhere where you know that okay, this is meant for you. So when I realized that I was doing well in that area, I chose to go my marketing and sales management and masters in it. Post completing it, it was not about any plan of entering into sales and marketing, but yes, when I was looking into avenues, there were doors which were coming in front of me, which were related to education, which were related to the private organizations. When I gave my interviews with education and with the private organizations to come up into sales, my ladder looked very, very clear to me. I found it very exciting. I found it like just my DNA. I come from an army background. I'm an army officer's daughter. So I just felt that connecting with people gave me a real kick. So I jumped into my first organization of selling privilege gift cards. And from where I became a training manager, shifted to HCL Technologies, which was a great shift in my career, like a real big shift in my career. Those times it was not about computers, it was about typewriters and fax machines, which were the main product in the industry of technology. I kept moving my charts ahead in corporate sales into various kind of organizations where I was handling websites, multimedia advertisements. There were various kind of ads which I was also working with the organizations for. So that chart and that movement of the industry kept shifting.
Okay.
And when the era changed from the corporate, after getting into corporate for almost more than 10 years, there was a boom period which came into retail. And I definitely got my chance and my opportunity to join hands into retail and to work with major big clients and brands to be associated. The journey always felt very, very interesting when it came to selling. But then I realized that there is a time when you keep opening doors for people, you keep doing things for brands, you expand for them, you reach out to various people and do big things in life. But then it just sticks to you. Like it's all about just staying with you. It's the time when I realized that this has to move forward. This has to go ahead. This journey has to be told to the younger generation that what it takes actually to just reach up to a level where anybody wants to reach. It could be a fashion designer, it could be a lawyer, it could be anybody. But what it takes to reach to your end client. So I decided to actually get into the area of educating the youngsters. I got my platform to actually train the students at Pearl Academy. I got a platform to train students at St. Joseph's. I got a platform to reach up to even the organizations, jewelers. So that gave me a lot of satisfaction that at least what I did and what I learned, I could pass it on to the younger generation.
So to make it clear, so while doing commerce, you decided that this is working out for you. And then when the opportunities knocked at your door, so you decided like education is not working for me, this is working for me. So how did you come to that conclusion? Because the children today when they graduate, there is lots of confusion what to do. I'm talking about commerce student. I also finished commerce and I took education. I went into Aptech. I also was into sales. We used to sell dreams.
Oh.
So I want you to explain how you take decisions based on, some things were working for you, and based on that you decided. So what exactly worked for you, and how you thought to take up this privilege cards or this organization? How did you choose to get into that? Was it just the opportunity, or it was a conscious decision?
I'll be very honest, Bharti. In the era of 90s, the opportunities were not like humongous. Platforms were not like laid down for you. It was about reaching out to various channels to get your interviews also. Things were not so easy in those times. So it was not a chosen platform for me in terms of that okay, I've chosen HCL or I've chosen privilege cards. It was definitely a platform where the newspaper cuttings came in front of me, and there was this opening which said that they needed executives to and it was a startup organization. So there was a lot of reservation that time in my head, but that time you're very carefree, you're not worried, you're young, you have that energy with you. You don't have commitments, you don't have responsibilities, and I always had a great family background with me to support me. So my parents were always like, go get what you want to do. And I had stepped out of college, so something was there within me that I want to do something after studying so much. You want to do something. So there was a newspaper which came in front of me, and I said, okay, let me give it a try. So I want to share this very small experience, but I want to talk about it. So it was my first interview where I sat down in front of the managing director of that organization, and he asked me various questions on my education and what my niche was and why I chose, as you are asking me about it now. And I said that I connect with people very well, and I love talking. So communication is definitely something which I enjoy. I come from an army background, so for me, adaptability was never an issue. So you tell me one thing, or you tell me do this, I will do that. You tell me this, I will do that. So I was very spontaneous in my reactions. So he said, oh great. So since you like talking and since you like connecting with people, I think you can be a good fit. But how would you travel? How about traveling within the city limits? So this was in Jaipur. So I said, traveling in terms of going and meeting people. I said, yeah, how would you travel? So I had a Luna back then in college, in my college times, which I left it in my college time to my cousin. And it came back with no mobile devices. So he said, what is the mode of conveyance? I said, well, I have my own rickshaw. So he laughed up at me and said, you mean your own rickshaw? I said, yeah, I have my own rickshaw. Tell me what I want, I can get it, and you can take me anywhere I want to go to. So something clicked, something which was very transparent, something which was very authentic in our relationship worked for me. So I want to really talk about this, that when we prepare for interviews, when we really prepare hard for interviews, it's not about what is that opportunity, where it is going to take you. It is about your authenticity. It is all about how authentic you want to be in that relationship, and how you want to take things forward for the organization. That's the time when you want to prove yourself. It's so organic that time that you really don't have a plan or a graph to go that okay, I want to become a director, or you want to become a GM first. No, it's so organic that you want to just break through those rules and regulations, and you want to do justice to your position.
You just take small steps, whatever it feels right for you at that time.
Yeah, it's such a proof platform, that you want to do something where they know that you can do it. So it's like a kuch karke dikhana hai, that was the zeal, and that was the only zeal which took me to places one after the other. That I wanted to do justice, I wanted to do always great things for the people around me, whether they were clients, whether they were founders. It was always about, being authentic, to be very, very honest.
Okay, so what's one piece of advice you disagree that commonly is given for getting into sales?
So, people who are getting into sales, it is not about the truth in life, Bharti. I would just completely disagree to the fact which runs in the market that you have to be a false player or a false communicator or not tell the correct information. It is all about how you place yourself. You will definitely sell a product with 2 extra ingredients when you have to sell. I would put it that way. So if I have
the pressure is on you, like to meeting the targets. Like for example, Byju's, those sales reps were always unhappy because there was so much pressure on them. Somehow they want to get the customer. Unfair market. So what do you think? So many people are hesitant to get into sales because of the pressure.
किसी इंडस्ट्री में होता है, वो किसी भी इंडस्ट्री में होता है. आपको सेल्स में if you don't know how to take that pressure of getting people, then you are not meant to do sales. Because if you see it as a pressure, then it is not about you. If you see sales as pressure, then it's really not about you. If you see sales as pleasure, if you see sales as connecting with people, it will automatically flow. But if you're going for a meeting and you are sitting in front of the client and you feel that ये deal तो close होनी ही चाहिए, it is not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. In today's time also, where I have lost so many years of my experience, I am still in that front where I feel that's my niche. So I'm very confident in that area. I don't meet a client because I have to sell that sari for a lakh of rupees. No. I am letting her know about the product. I am letting her know about the USPs of the product. I am being authentic that this color will look good on you. If it is not going to look good on her, I am being authentic about it that as well. That's why I said authenticity is really important. But when I am convinced that this is going to be looking good on you, then it is a little bit of push. Then you have to push. So there is a button where you need to know when you need to push. But that push is also authentic. You have to say that you must buy. It's not about the lack of things. You must buy. It's an investment. You should have it in your wardrobe. You want to take it.
Yeah, you made an awesome point that people have to be excited about sales in terms of meeting people, connecting with people, and selling the products. Awesome.
Absolutely.
So that's what you said, like character traits and mindset should be like that. What was
Absolutely.
Yeah. So my next question is, okay, what courses did you find most valuable to prepare yourself for keeping up with the pace? Like sales have also evolved, right, over the years. So what courses you suggest for the students that they should take? Because other than commerce, BCom, any degree courses, how should they prepare themselves to get into some kind of organization, into sales or marketing or retail exhibition? Is there any separate courses for that, or companies train them? How is it?
Yeah, so when it comes to academics, it is always good to study on sales and marketing. Look, I did my master's in business administration. I upgraded myself by doing a diploma course into sales and marketing. So I did my marketing and sales as a diploma course. So I would also recommend that they should adhere to, it could be a diploma, but they should get into it. Besides that, there is one thing which I would always recommend the students to get into is a communication course. Because at the end of the day, it is all about how you are going to communicate. And then I did my self-expression leadership program as well, which is called as SELP. So I did all my levels into Landmark. And then at the current levels, I did a course onto soft skill trainings into communication again. So you have to keep building it up with time. You have to keep upgrading yourself into the understanding into current times, how it is going to work for you. But communication is the major area and source of energy to anybody who is getting into sales. So I would personally recommend an offline sales training platform instead of online. So it's not about taking notes, it's about understanding how you want to, it's starting from an opening pitch to a closing pitch. So it becomes a challenging platform when you go online. So because then students get busy making notes, writing them down instead of understanding it in more real time. So when you go for sales training platforms, you are taught definitely theories about it because they are basic theories of your 3Ps and understanding the various channels and modes of how to reach up to your clients. But how you do it is always better if you go on an offline mode.
So, how your education in areas like marketing, negotiations, paid off in your corporate ladder, corporate career?
So, are you asking me about my journey into the other organizations, or are you asking me about closing of a deal?
Both. Like
I am not able to get.
while going up the corporate ladder, you would have learned negotiation skills, right? And that's how you were able to make a sale. And that's how you
Yes.
were one of the top 7%.
Yes.
And that's how you became training manager, right? So while going up the corporate ladder, how did this negotiation skills, how did you learn them? And what one specific thing about negotiation you would like to share with our viewers, our students?
The number one thing which I would recommend is to be absolutely fearless.
Okay.
Yeah, just be absolutely fearless. Have confidence. Very important. Open a door with a lot of confidence.
Okay.
Be prepared with your product. Product knowledge is absolutely very important. You can't go unprepared to a client just to close a deal. You need to know your product. You need to know what your offerings are. You need to know that if it is asked about why this and why not this, you should be able to answer to those questions. So for me, it is very important that I am in my personality also confident. When I say confidence, it is all about you being presentable first. When you open a door, you need to be very presentable. The client should be, able to welcome you in. You should not be feeling that, oh, there's another sales guy, another sales girl who has. So you need to have those points very clear. You need to be always updated. You need to have clean nails, clean hair, clean skin, clean clothes. Smell good, talk well, wish your client. Product knowledge. And works. You start.
I'm stuck now.
Now you are okay. You got stuck in between. So if I had to really put it down into levels of prioritization, it has to be number one, absolutely be fearless, be very confident, and have your product knowledge in place.
So this
If
is
I have time, absolutely. There is no looking back after that. Absolutely no looking back.
okay. Do you need to be diplomatic or do you need to speak around? There could be some flaws with the product, right? So if the
I would not say it as a flaw with the product. I would say there are other people in the market who are also competing for the same product. we are not the only ones who are going to be selling a typewriter. We are not going to be the only ones who are going to be selling a sari. There are going to be other people. So there is no flaw in my product, but there is competition in the market. So how do you come up from that competition is a pitch which you need to be very prepared with. I will give you a small story and an example in a minute's time. It was a referral lead where I had gone to actually sell a website to a client. And that client was, very high-end client. I went to them and I went with my proposal for about 1.25 lakhs, where I was selling per page of a website at 1,750 rupees per page, besides the conceptualization. I sat in front of the client and he said that this is the proposal you have got. But in the market, there are people who are making websites at 1/4 the price which you have come up with. I said, well, sir, that's true. So he said, then why should I take it from you? And I was pretty young at that time, and he kept insulting me. He picked up the call and he called up some guy and he asked him for a quote. And that guy said that okay, some 25-40 grand or some figure he gave. And he said, see, I'm able to get it in this price. Then why have you to come and see the person? I got a bit of a challenge there because you're not prepared for such a question, one, and then second, you're sitting in front of the managing director and he's pondering questions over you, and it was a very insulting tone, to be very honest with you. But I took it as a challenge. I said, see, there's nothing which I'm going to lose from here. The worst which can happen is that I won't get this deal. But at least I need to walk out of that place with some confidence that I'm not losing out on my relationship with that client. I just told him one thing. I said, sir, there are only two ways of doing business. One is that I have got the proposal with a scope of work. And you say that this scope of work is not what I'm looking at and this is not what my budget is. The second way is that you come up and say that this is what my budget is, Palu, and you fix my scope of work in this budget. There is no other way that I can solve this problem. But this is what my price is. This is what we do. And this is how we have our clients in place. So he said, so if I give you my budget, will you be able to fix it? I said, sure. Please share your budget. So he shared me a budget of an X price. I said, okay. And he called somebody from outside from his office and said that, please give the laptop to this lady and she's going to fix my budget and scope of work which I want, and make sure she goes out with 50% check of an advance. I sat down in their conference room, built up that complete scope of work. I actually took an advance amount of check from them, went to my organization, went to my team and said, in 1.5 days, you have to complete this work. Because this is the only thing which I can cut down and make it good. The deal was done. I was not asked for any questions. But that gave me that kick and that confidence, that okay, there is a solution to everything. You just have to be a great listener for those 5 minutes and take that charging on yourself and then come up with a solution. So it makes that difference that you need to be sure about your product. You need to have your hands on. And then you need to close it. So closing is a fire.
Yes,
You need to have that fire. Yeah.
Okay, so courses you have already taken. Okay, if you can go back to your school or college days, would you change your career path, or would you stick to the same thing, or would you do something different?
Not at all. I think I was just always meant for this. I would not like to change anything. I've always been a believer of that there's always a niche to every human body, and what is meant for you, you should do that. And everybody cannot do everything. So if I was meant for this, I am meant for this, and I just need to keep working hard on it. I still believe it. At whatever age I am at, I strongly believe that one has to be a lifelong learner, has to keep learning every day. That till the time you keep learning, there is no looking back at times. And I'm very happy in the space I am. So I would not like to change it.
Okay, so do you offer any courses in sales and marketing or retail expansion? For
I
this?
do.
So,
I do.
would you like to explain something about that for our viewers?
Yeah, sure. So I do take up trainings on communication. I take up trainings on direct selling. I take up trainings on soft skill communication as well. And I do take up trainings on people who want to crack interviews into sales as well.
Okay. So interviews, communication, direct selling, and retail expansion.
Yes.
Nothing
For
on
sure.
marketing.
For sure. So retail expansion and marketing go very much hand in hand because it is from the inception to implementation. When I say expansion, it is a plethora of work which starts from the identification of location to launching a showroom to hiring people to training them and to bring up to that number which that particular outlet is supposed to have. So retail expansion has been my forte for the past 12 years. So I've opened showrooms for various brands, and my biggest breakthrough was with a retail brand called as Meena Bazaar, where I opened 11 showrooms for them in 1 year. That's been my
Basically, a small startup, right? For a
Sorry?
big brand, you are doing a small startups in branches, right? For bigger brands. Retail expansion.
So when they want to expand, when you say expansion, expansion means when they want to reach out places, and I became like a source for them because of my area into actually trainings and sales. It became like a very easy platform for me to hire and train as well. So hiring also becomes like another area of expertise because when you know about how people are going to sell to the audience, it becomes easy for you to understand that what a merchandiser would do, what a sales boy would do, what a stock boy would do, what a cashier would do. So when you know your product and sales, it just helps you out in all these areas as well. So that became like a next level of game altogether.
Do you do any placements for graduates like into sales, marketing, or F&G?
So I do not have my tie-ups as in tie-ups with the organization as of now because I don't have a placement agency. But I do help students to reach out to the right audience and connecting with them with the right people. That's the only source which I can, which I have done it in my past and which I'm happy to do. It's all about having that passion of connecting people to the right sources.
So you just do courses, online courses on sales, interview skills, communication.
Yes.
And
Yes.
if they want retail expansion also. But right now there is no placement. But if you think somebody is really good, then you might.
Absolutely.
So, but it's not officially done as a placement.
Yeah, I don't have an agency as in, where I could say that, okay, I have brands and people to connect with. But you're rightly saying that can be a great place to be. But now my passion is about, really training this generation. I am so very inclined and passionate towards this. Let this generation know that, it's absolutely no fear in getting into sales. It is very, very important. In fact, anything you make, a gadget like Apple, if they make and don't sell, where are they going? So you need to have that. I'm very proud because it's a spine of an organization. It's a kick to say that for the whole lifetime you can be a sales executive. Also, it's no brains. You just need to be confident about the fact that even a fashion designer designs an outfit needs to go to the right audience. So there's nothing, guys, which is going to happen without sales.
So who is your role model from the corporate? Like, did you have any mentor who really taught you a lot of things, or you look up to him or her? Or it could be outside also. But sales week.
Very, very interesting question. I have never dealt with it before. um, I would say outside my corporate world or a retail world, first I would say talk about that person, and that's for sure going to be my father.
Oh, nice to hear that.
Father is one of- yeah, it's good. He would never stop me from
Your father never
Am I
stopped me.
audible?
After that, I couldn't get.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. So he was always very, very encouraging. He would always say, just go for it. Don't worry about it. Whether it could be about taking a new role, even when it was about shifting a city from Delhi to Bangalore. I was very, very fearful that how would I sit into a city all by myself and start my career on a new level altogether, and that too for an expansion from north to south. It was a huge change for me. The only person I went to was my father. He asked me for 24 hours, and when he came back with an answer, he said that what is worse, what's going to happen? It could be a posting which has not worked for you. Yeah? The worst which could happen will be that you might not succeed the way you want to succeed. So you can get back. So where is the fear? So that gave me a next level of a thought that push that nothing knows which can happen with you. So I would always say that it was my father who always encouraged me, whether it was in my career choices or my life choices, right or wrong. He was standing by, always standing. Not that my other family members were not, but he being from a background which was such a strong background, army is foothold which teaches you to be on a brave foot front. So I always say that in my interviews I always say that I'm a proud army officer's daughter. So it gives you that kick to grow in life for sure. My identity is there. So I would like to throw light on one important aspect while we are talking on the sales and the marketing front is about the audience. When we talk about the audience, there are two kinds of audience which we definitely need to pay attention to. One is our internal audience and the other is our external audience. When I had shared my experience about the episode of meeting up with a client and changing the scope of work, it wasn't possible if my internal audience was not with me. So it is not always about dealing with the client outside of your premises. It is also about your internal team members, your internal audience. Because without that support and without that function, you will not be able to take the shots outside in the market. So when any executive, a manager, to that matter at any level, somebody who's stepping out to get anything executed, it is very important that your back-end, your internal team is with you. You can never accomplish or reach a goal without having your hands count and that solidarity of understanding with your team members. So that is one thing which I really wanted to emphasize, and there are lengths and breadths on talking about it. But yes, to give the nuances of this is that you really need to have your hands really together for internal and external audience.
Okay, so this episode is basically to introduce you to the new graduates. So you can give us your online courses that you're offering and where they can contact you if you have any website. So I'll put it under the video so that they can reach out.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Pleasure connecting with you, Khalfi.
Thank you so much, Parul. It was such an interesting episode. It gave a lot of information to our viewers. Thank you so much for your inputs on corporate sales, retail expansion, and marketing field of career. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time on live. Bye bye.
Thank you, Bharti. Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure. Yeah.